expressive the time.
It's a book.
Yes, this book only. Uh, as Professor Rao advocates one particular thing, which is Samadhan society also, believes, and that thing is that geniuses are not created in isolation, rather it's created in the synergies and symbiosis. So this is the collective team efforts. A lot of stories I heard. Uh, I got an opportunity to meet Honorable Sir in Indore when he come to my clad institution with uh, and that was also the like very great moment for all of us. We come to know how the work is. We always seen Professor as someone who is very energetic towards the success, towards the guiding young aspirants always. And this is what motivates me to work ahead for the betterment of this society. Uh, Happy World Environment Day to all of you. As environment means surroundings in which we live, Samadhan Society is somewhat trying to contribute and making the surroundings better for women's uh, women's in India, especially by working on the field of rapes. I I handed over the opportunity to Janvi ji to coordinate and discussion with Honorable Professor Venkata. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Diane. Today's discussion is not just the topic of news headline, it is the profound social crisis that impacts us all. The issue of rape in India has reached alarming proportions. Recent data from the National Crime Record Bureau paints a green picture. With over 31,000 reported cases of rape in 2021 alone, the average of 85 cases daily. Behind this data are heart-wrenching incidents of pain and resilience, echoing the horrific incidents of Nirbhaya case of 2012 to Hathras gang rape of Uttar Pradesh. As we proceed, let us keep in mind that our goal is not only to understand the gravity of the problem, but to contribute to meaningful change. We must advocate for the stronger legal reform, ensuring that laws are not only stringent but effectively implemented. We encourage our audience to participate actively. Please submit your question via the chat or audio, and we will address them during the question answer segment. So, stage is all yours.
Okay. So, Janvi, I have the leave of Samadhan Society people to initiate. Now, am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Now, can I start?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, first, let me say the flattering introduction about me, both by Janvi and Nayan, has reminded me of the notorious reputation that the lawyers have. The notoriety arises from the fact that people say when the case is weak, the lawyers give a long introduction. And when the case is strong, they just get up and say, my lord, the facts speak for themselves. Both mine and Janvi have given such a formidable introduction about me, maybe because the case is not very formidable and the case is between. Don't have high expectations. But my heartiest congratulations to Samadhan Society for the social awareness advocacy campaigns. And as Neil Armstrong said, a small step could be a giant leap in one direction. And the sensitization campaign you are taking up makes each one of us a foot soldier in the cause of making surroundings around us better. Nayan was referring to World Environment Day. Yes, today is World Environment Day. Now, my appeal to all the youngsters is let's take a pledge today that we will nurture and nourish nature and we will not torture nature. Remember, where nature is nurtured and nourished, a civilization is born. Where nature is tortured, a civilization will be destroyed. Francis Bacon long ago said, If you want to command nature, you have to obey nature. So let's go down before nature. And let's remember ourselves that we are a generation in restoration, restoring the planet back to the posterity. Because let's remember, we are not the first to be born, we are not the last to die. We have to hand over the baton to the posterity without allowing the baton to fall down. Therefore, all of us have a pious obligation in preserving nature, in protecting nature. And look at the theme that this World Environment Day today has. Land restoration, desertification, and drought resilience. Our land, our future. Therefore, let's take a pledge. And as mine says, I always believe that ours is a symbiotic relationship. I learn from you, and you learn from me. With these few words of introduction, let me initiate the discussion on a very important topic of seminal significance, which is breaking the silence. What an excellent metaphor you have used, breaking the silence. I congratulate mine and his team for the wonderful metaphor you have used, breaking the silence, identifying solutions in growing epidemic of rape in India. I would only say it is not just an epidemic of rape in India, it is a pandemic of rape in the universe. It's only a difference of degree and not of kind. If you look at the entire universe, you will observe that man-woman relationship is a beautiful relationship, is a natural relationship, is a humanized relationship. And when you structure that natural human relationship and when you put it in a hierarchy, it becomes a dehumanized. And as a result of the structured dehumanized relationship, remember, so many contraindications emerge. Thanks to hierarchies of different order, which you popularly refer to as patriarchal society or something. Patriarchal society is only one manifestation. But before you try to find solutions to it, as a younger generation, you have a responsibility to understand the limitation of law. First, understand that. See, the function of law is to secure the desirable behavior and to prevent the undesirable, in one sentence. Now, the function of law is to secure the desirable and prevent the undesirable. If you ask a person, has law been able to secure the desirable, the answer would be not total. The answer may not be fully satisfactory. If law has not been able to secure the desirable, where does the fault lie? Does the fault lie with the sharks and handed placing pictures on it? Now, the fault lies with us because we fundamentally commit a mistake that law is the only agent of social control. Please remember, law is not even the primary agent of social control. And the most important element of social control are some other institutions, starting with parental control at home, attitude to values, ethical considerations, religious principles, etc., etc. And therefore, where law is not the primary agent of social control, one unit said law is like a zero. Today you have one law. Let us say law against rape. Tomorrow you have law against dowry, another law. Day after tomorrow you have law against corruption, another law. 0 plus 0 plus 0 is equal to 0. But if you put an integer before 0, 1 0 becomes 10. 2 zeros become 100. And that integer is conspicuous by its absence in our social life today. And how do you supply that integer? You must bestow judicious attention. Number two, the limitation of law is that law cannot regulate the greed of human beings. Non-law can instill character in human beings. See, regulating the greed of human beings and instilling character in human beings is the domain of something else. And unless you strengthen those institutions which would regulate your greed, which you would instill your character, law would be a helpless spectator. And when I said the offense of rape is just not an epidemic which is confined to India, but it's a pandemic spread all over the universe, and it's only a difference of degree and not of kind, my focus would be on two things. It's not only rape that takes place during the freestyle that should attract our attention. Now, rapes that take place during war times, women being used as sex slaves. So, for example, I'll take you to 1944 Battle of Normandy, under the Second World War. Yeah. When the Normandy battle was won, and when the United States soldiers went to France, you will be surprised, there were 156 convictions of the American soldiers for having committed the offense of rape. And a young daughter by name Amy Dupree has written a, what I should say, emotionally surcharged write-up, where she said, my mother with the name Amory was raped 8 times on a night, and my mother wanted to save me. And this is the plight of the woman during wartime. And that was in 1944 in France. And in Australia, as late as 2019, Brittany Higgins, who was working in government institution, complained that there was an incident of sexual assault against her where in Parliament of Australia by Bruce Leherman. And he was convicted later. That's a different story. Then coming nearer home, apart from Prajwal Varanda's case in the recent past, thank God he was defeated as a member of parliament in the elections yesterday. One incident that moves me is the alleged incident of Unnao in 2017. Some of you must have heard about that. The former BJP MLA Kuldeep Singh Sangar was alleged to have raped a 16-year-old girl who came to him for a job in 2017. When her father protested to the police, her father himself was arrested and he was done to death by the policeman. And desperate for justice, Unnao set herself on fire before the Chief Minister's house. The courts intervened. Even after the intervention of the courts, the car in which Unnao was traveling along with her 2 aunties and an advocate, a truck hit the car, killing her both the aunties. The advocate was injured. She escaped with injuries. But if that is the situation, will it not dissuade the other victims from complying? Therefore, before we go to the legal nuances relating to law, look at the social milieu. Swaminathan Anklesh Iyer recently wrote an article where he says 2 aspects of Indian society are terrible. Number 1, powerful families control the police stations, and these powerful families are above the law effectively. Their children think that they are immune from criminal complaints, and that can have devastating moral consequences. I repeat, powerful families control local police stations, and they are effectively above the law. And these top politicians are master in their satrapies, and anybody complaining against them will suffer terribly after the police rebuff. And worse is the social impact of female survivors and their families. Swaminathan Anklesh Iyer says, I find it extremely shocking that more than sexual abuse, social ostracism of the victim does more injustice to the victims. Women who are filmed performing forced sexual acts, instead of receiving the warmest sympathy and heartfelt support of the community, remember, they are ostracized. Whereas the molesters, they go scot-free. Traditionally, for the fear of the social things there. Whereas if you look at the scenario in other countries, well, survivors have natural sympathy and national sympathy, and those coming forward to lodge complaint would be called heroic. But in India, traditions are different. They are imbued with patriotism